Hello, hello. How is everybody doing? Am I coming through fine? Looks like I am. I am Aaron Archer from the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. It's a little bit earlier Friday night for me. And hopefully you. We're going to try to go maybe 2 hours tonight and look over a bunch of books. So, I hope everybody's had a good week. I believe I have sold one house on my way to doing other things, so that's cool. No idea what that is. So yeah, I thought we would go through the Transformer book collection again, talk about the different type of books out there, the kind of core books you might want to try to track down, or maybe you'll see some things you did not know existed, and we can talk about some of the books that should exist that don't. So I might change the lighting concept a little bit as I pull some of this stuff up. I wanted to see how well it looked or not. But I am Aaron Archer. I am a 20-plus year veteran of the toy game and franchises overall. Worked at Kenner and Hasbro on Batman and Transformers for many years. And now we like to talk toys and what makes us passionate about these things, and the collecting hobby overall, and with a little bit of focus on Transformers most of the time. So with that, I think we'll get going here before too long. Coltron, El Kevo, Archie, Mikey and Louie, how's everybody doing? Princeton Phalanx 59, how are ya? T-Formers 2002, how are ya? Glad you guys caught me early. Hope the word went out. We'll see if we have run into a ninja. But yeah, had a pretty good week doing some art, some commissions, and just in general finishing out the school year with the kids. It's that time of year. So I got a few interesting projects. I guess the one that I'm working on the most is this Unicron here. It's still a little bit ways from being done. Doing that big painting, and then the instruction art paintings that you can check out on archermonster.com. So I'm going to rattle through these books today, and if you have any questions, try to track me down. Super chat will be the easiest way to get my attention, probably. So I didn't have a firm way to start. I'm going to go with the big shelf first, which is that holds the best stuff. Hey, Coltron, congratulations. That holds the best stuff and some of the iconic stuff, and then I have a lot of the, publishing efforts that, go out to all different ages and targets and meanings. And I think I have a few interesting things that, just from the length of time I've been around, maybe people haven't seen. So with that, met Don Rosa today. Wow. The duck artist? How old is he? Wow. All right. So, again, in no particular order, and I'm going to bear with me as I have these piles around my desk here. I think I want to start with some of the more weird stuff. So, when you work on a brand like Transformers, you get a chance to certainly do comic books. We'll talk about those, and certainly do the publishing, coloring books and notebooks and spiral bound paper and all that good stuff. The thing that you get when you're on a bigger brand is some of the more extended kind of publishing. And one of those to me is the pop-up books, and at the level of this type of pop-up book. So this was done by Matthew Reinhardt, who has done pretty much every pop-up book that is worth anything. He's a friend of mine, and he is a huge Transformer fan. He has attended almost every BotCon and comes in and out and kind of keeps a low profile, but he is amazing. And then this art in this one was done by Emiliano, who has done a bunch of the pre-production stuff. And when they're done at a high level, they're just like amazing. It's going to be hard to demonstrate these things, but what is cool in the publishing world when you're on a franchise like Transformers is to get this level of participation from a partner who just really does a good job. There's that Megatron. How cool is that? Full transforming paper. And each one of these has, stuff that happens, that they turn. Pretty wild. This book is pretty wild. And mine is not signed. I have the Star Wars books he did signed. So this book's kind of weird too, because it lives in that weird aligned continuity era where we're doing certain designs a certain way. Ironhide is a big one there. Again, this wasn't meant to be from any one era, so it kind of takes from everywhere. Look at that thing. That was an amazing piece of paper engineering. So, I don't think you can find this book too easily these days, but pretty cool one. Very, I don't know how to say it. It would be a epic book to have, right? There's guidebooks and stuff. That really says I'm a fan, and check this out. Celebrating the 30th anniversary, the thrilling 30. So that book may, a lot of these books certainly will be harder to find. I have collected these over various trips I've taken, various visits to unique publishing and comic book stores in different cities I visit. I'm always, at different times, I've been a very big eBay viewer to try to find unique and interesting books. So if you can't easily find these, it gives you another type of holy grail hunt to find it, look for at conventions and whatnot. Hey, Marcelo, how are you, brother? Larry, how's it going? No ninja yet. Where's my ninja? So there's those type of books. We talk about this one a lot. These were all the rage in the early 90s, the DK books. They would do, Spider-Man and Batman and every major mythology, Star Wars and whatnot. This one was kind of collated and written by Simon Furman with a lot of art from all the different eras. So it was an overview of the brand as well as kind of covering off on some things that weren't necessarily set in stone at that time, like the picture of Primus in here. And trying to tell a little bit more of that story. Kind of interesting. So this was a book that Hasbro gave away to all new partners, like the video game partners, the movie partners, maybe new publishing people, as a approved roadmap as to what we thought the brand in general was. This is the book that kind of we used as that guide at the time before there was a line continuity. This is kind of one of the reasons an aligned continuity kind of had to be made, because even with that book, there's Beast Wars in it, there's this, there's that. How does that all make sense then? It needed to be explained. That was like the next step. Still a great book. Almost too jam-packed, but, that's what it was at the time. What are you going to do? Let's see here. We got a lot of these books. I'm going to go back in time a little bit for a few of these. Let's cover, in general, the Japanese books. All right. So, in the early days of my time on Transformers, and then certainly in the late 2000s, we were well away from G1. People had lived through it, certainly knew their stuff, but this is still pre-internet, and there were books that were independently published that I no longer have that were just photo books. Some of the Rick Alvarez books, the guidebooks that have photos of everything and what weapons they should have and what weapons deviated, what changed, what color variations, those kind of things. Really focused on the toy. Those were all independently made. There were a few different ones. I can't even recall the publishers. But then Takara, through partnerships, started putting these books out, and there's multiple versions. So this is the very first version. And then they came out with a deluxe version, and I think there's even other versions. So I'm not here today to talk about the intricacies of the book publishing and their first printings and all of that. I'm celebrating the ability to look at images, look at art, look at the visuals for different artists, experience the brand that way, and enjoy it for those reasons. You can certainly buy mint books, put them in a bag, leave them on the shelf, all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about why you would want to check out these books in general and maybe add them to your library as a Transformer fan, if you didn't know they existed. So this is known as the Transformers Generations book. And what Takara went and did is went through year by year with the stats and the bio and had a photo of the robot and the robot. I don't think they cover variations at all, and this is probably, I guess Japanese colors, because there are items that didn't come out in the Western market in this book. To my knowledge, that didn't come out in the Western market. But it covers, year by year, getting into all the different variations of Transformers through the years, the early 90s era, all that good stuff, up until basically 95. So it goes through Machine Wars, I believe, or right before Machine Wars. And that's where it ends off, and that's kind of one of the places that G1 kind of ends off. I'm not going to get crazy on that one. But what's cool about this book is it has a lot of the signature publishing art from Japan over the years. Stuff that's not often seen in the Western side. And then in the back, it has all the animation models for all the Transformer characters. What's that note? Oh yeah, Junkion, check that out. For some reason I pointed out the Wreck-Gar. But, cool to have all that. And then in the backpack, they have some more of the animation art in 2D, black and white. And then that's pretty cool. Some interviews. Mr. Ono's on there. Kind of redundant calling him that, but so he's the originator of the Takara transforming Sunstreaker, which we call the first Transformer. There's some episode guides, figure guides, all that kind of stuff is in there. That's pretty cool. When they came out with it a few years later, the difference here is the gold on the logo. When they came out with it a few years later, they added a lot of pre-production toy stuff that never went anywhere. Now, I've seen a lot of these originals in file folders that they keep over there. So that's what makes this one cool. Is now I don't know why the third-party guys don't just go down this book and make all these Transformers that exist in the property but never were made, versus doing characters we already have. But hey, I will give that information out for free. Check the book out. A lot of cool things. Make those. So that's what's cool about that book. This one I haven't destroyed as much as I did with the previous one. This was my working copy while at Hasbro, so it is all scuffed and dinged up. If you ever see it without the cover, that's what without the dust jacket. So pretty cool. Droned on about that one for a bit. Sorry. Definitely going to run out of space to put these guys. All right. Yeah, the Japanese books, I mean, they used to make great overview books, guidebooks that I kind of call them, whether it's the animation perfect guides or, overviews of whole properties. Very cool. Very cool. So along with that type of book, you also have different show-focused books. So this is the Japanese Beast Wars Universe book. A lot of people don't seem to know about this one. When I pull this one out, people are unaware of it. This was its banner, so you may see it with a yellow banner on it at different times. Okay, so if you bought it new, shrink wrapped, that's what it would have looked like. But what this one does, from an animation standpoint, it overviews the animation episodes and then the individual characters. Pretty good photos of the CG models there. Some shots from the animation down below. And it goes through all the characters. If they made it, all the versions. So there's the Cheetor I did. So pretty cool. If they were in the program, they made it. Then they have the overview of the episodes, which is nice. And then a full photo archive of all the toys, which is also pretty cool because there's some of the rare and exclusive toys in here as well. And now with the ability on our phones to read all this Japanese, these books are even more fun. So got all the way to the Red Dragon there that I did. Very cool. Got the McDonald's toys in here, some of the BotCon exclusives. So another good animation overview. If you're in the Beast Wars and you'll have a lot of items in your collection and you kind of don't know what you should try to have as a holy grail, maybe try to track down some of these kind of books. Could be a fun way to do that. Put my Oban back here. All right, and then this bad boy, this would be the Armada equivalent of that book. So same deal. You have episode guides and when they came out. And then you get to what the whole concept was about. Then you go through the toys. And then in the back, there's the black and white animation development. And what else? And an interview with this strange fellow. So this is a great book. Awesome to have something like this. This photo right here to me is very symbolic of the team that created Armada. There I am. So that that is a type of book. So if you're into the Unicron trilogy, they did not make an Energon one. We will talk about the Cybertron one next. But this is the Armada one. The Cybertron came out in a little different format. It's a smaller book. Same deal. I'm kind of looking at some of these backwards. It's the same deal. You got some episodic guide, some toy guide, some good photos. Got the CG and the toy in there. The whole line. Then you got the episode guides and the human characters, things like that. So if you're a fan of the show, you know, you can really get into it, and that's what it is. It's every, you know, CG model and toy in the program, and then some of the black and white development towards the back. So they're very consistent. This one's called Phase Ignition. So pretty cool. Again, if you're a fan of any of these series, it's a way to kind of have all the licensing overall, you know, another thing to chase down, right? I've shown various versions of these before. Well, I'll do these quick. This is a kid book from Japan, kind of an overview of the basic of the show and toys. Kind of, you know, we would have like maybe a magazine or something. Like, we don't quite do this format anymore in America, but the UK still has this kind of thing with those magazines that they give away with the little toys. But pretty cool. Nice to have. Again, these are for me as a collector and stuff I worked on. You know, it's nice to have these because I couldn't have purchased these unless I had been over there. All right, so this is like the first. I don't have all of these. Been informed that there's multiple volume with the same number or something. I'm confused. But these are also books that Takara put out, and these are more toy-specific guides, and they go really in deep. Have a lot of the movie items. They do interviews. They have some comics in the back of them. This is for the Japanese market. Kind of a hybrid collector publishing and storytelling opportunity. This one has the Alternators in it. They had different volumes. They covered, you know, the different segments of Transformers. A lot of the movie stuff, a lot more of the realism stuff, or in some cases G1. So again, an opportunity to, you know, kind of have some more historical knowledge about the brand. What's cool about this one is it has the old cross cells in it, which is really, really neat. Even some of the promotional information, which is really cool. Yep, and then they have multiple volumes, so I think this is the one that has some artwork in it, some more promotional stuff. Oh, this one has all the mini-cons, so that's cool. So they kind of use these books as a visual guide so that you can tack along with your collection. And maybe I don't have the animated one, but there is an animated one as well. Trying to go through these fast. Sorry, bear with me here. And then we start getting into books that, well, we got more of these actually. They even made one for Alternators. If you're unaware of this one's pretty, or Binaltech rather. You know, this one is very detailed. Tells you how to transform each robot. Has them all. Very cool. Has a lot of the development stuff. My goodness, that's my color guide there. But this is mostly the development work that goes into these items, so it's just like the Armada ones. This one just doesn't have animation. They filled the back of it with some their G1 collector line information. So there's some G1 love in there, which, you know, Alternators is an echo to some of the stuff in G1, so, or that mentality rather. So pretty cool. Now let's see, what are people saying? I wish I knew where I could find these books if people were interested, but it's just, yeah, BotCon is a good place to hunt those things down. TFCon, you know, any of the vendors that come from Japan, they might have that kind of thing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this one is very cool, and it's you know, it's a thicker volume. I mean, if you can track it down. Now, its original price was 2,800 yen, which, you know, could have been like $18.99 back in the day, and I don't know what would be going on there today with that. So let's see if we got any more of those. Those are pretty much all the Perfect Guide stuff. And then there's some other weird kind of analogous books. This is a G1 kind of Perfect Guide in its own way, but it is a lot more on the later series, so you can get, you know, some of the more oddball stuff is in here. More focused on animation than toy in this book, which is fine. But it's cool to see the old package art and some of the animation art at a somewhat better scale. And I'm assuming there's information about the characters around them there, and that's all that. But yeah, this is the pretty much the G1 version of a Perfect Guide. Try not to completely stretch out my books too. Some cool random art also in there. So that's cool. So these go back, you know, if a company has assets like art and imagery, you know, it's just good to use it if you can, and kind of get it out there every once in a while so people can, you know, do it. Yeah. Handshake hands. How you doing? I'm doing good. Let's be pals. Yeah, I don't know how the prices might be on some of these days. So now I'm going to get into a different category of book. Well, maybe not. Maybe not yet. All right. So then there's these books. Okay, so here's the Legacy book. This is the art of the transforming packaging artwork. So you can buy these books in their better glory. You know, see some of that package imagery without all the cutaways and bubbles and graphics put over top of it. So that's what's cool about a book like this. This one's probably more readily available because it came out in the last 5 years, I think. You know, it prints some of these characters out really big, which is awesome. In some cases, colors we don't normally see, or in some cases, images that we never saw, alternate designs and whatnot. So these books can serve, you know, historic needs and archival needs and reference needs. You know, it's just chock full of all that good stuff. Let's see here. Oh yeah. It's got all the old business, you know, some of the graphic treatments, some of the promotional art. Very cool stuff. Some Japanese things for sure. Yeah, wow. Even gets into some oddities here in the end, things that maybe weren't widely seen at the time. So that's what a book like that gives you. Gives you the opportunity to see some of this work bigger. You know, the toys are the thing, but these images can convey on any of the packages the emotion of the character, the attitude of the character, the coolness of the character. You know, and if you don't have much of a story, if you never see the show, sometimes those images on the package are what you create in your head to go on, you know, what you have to go on in your head. And so it's fun. To me, it's fun to look at that stuff. Because it's all additive. I know we want to play with the toy, and the toy is the thing, but, you know, it's all part of the same excitement and emotions going into it, I would think. All right. Another version of a similar thing. So the Art of Transformers Fall of Cybertron. And this book, it's just all the rich 2D concept art they did for the video game. It's a little more video gamey than other books, but if you're into pre-production work, new visions for these characters, it's fun to see how they envision them. You know, but it's a lot of these cutscenes and, you know, showing the emotion that will be coming out of the game and the world, you know, the world you're running around in that game. So that's what these kind of books serve. Very cool. If you're into that, again, if you're in that video game, you know, it's something to go a little deeper on and track down. All right. Ooh-wee. There are a lot of them. All right, so it's 8:30. Plan on going till 10, so we got plenty of time. Anything that we need to cover? Yeah, box art is important. I mean, it's a shame we've lost the bios because those also certainly added some knowledge about the characters and how you should think about them when you were playing with them. But the package images are still there and still key. And, you know, Marcelo's here in the chat. He has done hundreds of them at this point. So he knows the value of making them all unique. But certainly an important part of the process. All right, here's another type of book that comes out from time to time. This one is kind of more rare for sure. It was not a big print run and was kind of expensive back in the day by all measure. And this is a book of some official old art from various archives. From G1 and whatnot, but a lot of it was posters and pinups. You know, before the print era of the modern convention, you know, these would have been, I guess, the types of things that would have been prints or posters. You know, so this was just a collected book of Transformers art from all eras, wherever they could get it. Ugh, that's a piece that came with it to promo it. Back in the day, I still have 2 of those for some reason. So there's some fun stuff in this book that's not normally seen. There is one of Marcelo's first Transformer pieces of work that was published. And this is also has one of the few Transformer pieces that I've ever had published. which is pretty cool. And Eric did that one. I did this one, and Marcelo colored mine as well. So pretty cool. Again, that book is going to be this one's more tricky to find for sure. And it's called The Genesis Art of Transformers. So that one might be a bit tricky to find. Okay. I guess we're not done. So same deal. Here's the Transformers animated Allspark Almanac. This one is one of those ones that brings everything together, right? It brings why we made this as a show, the people making the show. And then it has information about the show and the world in universe. It has development sketches. It has animation development sketches. It has toy development information, previs stuff that we developed. So these almanac books are just too good. I don't even know where to start with them. And there's also a version that is collected. And they're both full proper books. Trying to gets into some of the licensing development, characters that never went anywhere. There's some sort of in-universe kind of continuity information in here, which is kind of fun. For those of you who may or may not know, I am the Angry Archer in the animated show. So that's in there too. Pretty cool. So the animated books here served the same way these other ones did. There's just so much more development stuff in this one because we were more in charge of it, so we think that way. Different logo arrangements we were developing. So those are cool books. Respect to Derek Wyatt, who's not with us anymore, who really made that universe sing. So, yeah. The animated almanacs they're great books. They're even if you don't know the show, I mean, they're fun, full, colorful books. Very, very, very fun. Tally-ho indeed. All right, let's do these because they're easy. And I have a few others somewhere, but not here. There's also, the novels. So if you wanted to read kind of that origin story in more of a word form versus playing the video game, this is where you would have got the information about kind of the origin story. If you this has got to be somewhat connected to some of the story being told in Transformers 1. It's a lot of the same overall world that the Fall for Cybertron game and Exodus falls under. So I'm curious when Transformers 1 comes out, how close, what connective DNA did they share? Really, not how close did they match that book. They're not trying to do that, but what assets that got created back then that we tried to make sense of, still hang true today. So there we go. So yeah, and then the paperback versions. Exiles only came out in paperback, unfortunately. So there's those. Oh, here we go. Here's one of the Rick books. This is what we used to call the unofficial guide. So this one is definitely trying to show various, variations and all the different things that a collector or fan would need to know if you're really getting into the hobby in a more significant way. These kind of books are going to tell you the details you need to know, perhaps, to not get to be well informed in your purchases, so you know what you're looking at, knowing what you're looking to buy and what it's supposed to come with. So has the old packaging art and all the different things. There's been a few different versions of these type of books, like I said. So that is out there. And then you got the visual history book. So here's another example of this brand has been around a long time. So this one covers packaging, comics, animation, video games, and movies, and it's trying to present, again, big, impactful images that you may not see, and then it's broken down per kind of output style, right? So toy art is one thing. There's some cool stuff in there. But then there's significant comic book art that has come out over the years. We got Power to Prime stuff in here. So they there's some toy design things, which is very cool. This book came out a few years ago too, so it might be available, more readily available. I think every movie or comic cover is in here. Jim Sorensen, put this together with the help of a lot of artists and whoever held these different assets to be able to pull it together. Some of the great Don Figueroa work is in here, some of that Dreamwave stuff. So, very cool to see that stuff, the comics, and then animation. If you want to kind of deep dive into what was going on in all these eras, that's pretty cool. Animation, I don't think they're going to have much on my era of animation, is my guess. We didn't make a lot of extra promotional stuff. Yeah, it looks like it skips right over the Unicron trilogy almost. Yeah, which is fine. We didn't keep a lot of the assets, so I sign these books sometimes. So when my kids get them, they're already signed. But, the animated has a lot of Derek's cool stuff. And then in the end, got all this video game work, concept stuff. So, I know that the publishing is not as sexy maybe as buying that next toy, for sure. But, the deeper you get into the brand and kind of want to really celebrate it, there are these great books to, give you touch points to all of it. So that's cool. What you guys got going on? What books? I did not write any books. I had a lot of say on the overall planning, but no, I wouldn't call myself a writer on any of it. All right. Here's another one, like those other ones too. So this is the the Vault book. So this one takes you like out of the property, proper, and says, look at how this was created in all the places Transformers lives, and let's celebrate the touch points of that brand. So it's hard to explain. It talks about the toys. It's got some of the patent images that you would see. It's got early model prototype photos, some of the fun role play. It's not so focused on Hasbro toys, Takara toys. It gets into why the brand was cool back in the day with the different cards. This book was purposely made to have all these kind of pull-out things. So you have the old stats, and you can run the ruby paper over it to get the stats. So this book has a lot of these little bits of ephemera to try to put you in the place when these things initially came out. So that's fun. Let's see. Yeah, some items that never came out, development stuff. All right, we got a super chat. Mikey Louie, nice collection, very informative as always. What's your Holy Grail book? And which are your favorites? Well, I think I'm showing you a few of my favorites. The Vault book here for sure. The pop-up book is up there. And then the Covenant of Primus, just for the contribution that I'll get into. I think those would be the big three. I'm proud of the novel. Some of the overview books are great, but, they're just kind of old photos and things, and that's great. But when my contributions, I kind of like that we did some of this stuff. So the pop-up book and this Vault book is pretty cool. I think those would be my answers. So thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. $10 super chat. Thank you. Some of the illustrations as they were presented by the illustrator, not cut out and cleaned up. So there's a lot of ways that you can appreciate the brand. Oh, look at this guy. You see him? He is living right here. Hiding behind Professor Zoom. So yeah, he's right there. Whoop. The Covenant isn't on the Internet Archive anywhere? That's crazy, so it's got some fun stuff with the old and new Unicron, new at that time. There's some of my drawings for goofy heads that I did during Armada days. Some other pictures that Eric and I did. So there's Eric's tidal wave. That's pretty cool. Wind Charger. What was that? What? And it kind of goes through all kinds of stuff. So that's what makes this book cool. It covers the early days of the comics. It's got some more of these pull-out things. I'm trying to find one. So that gets into the comic book stuff later, and it shows, what a clean piece of art is before it gets colored. So you could pull this out, this piece of art. Oh, this was cool. I had one of these. It has a fake Transformers movie ticket in it from the premiere. I was actually there, so that's pretty cool. Let's So it covers off the movie and gets all into the future of the brand. So this is one of those things that people talk about. That's my napkin that I created Cybertron concept on after the Supercross concept that I pitched went kind of nowhere. This was how I rectified my issue. So it's all laid out right there. We also made the first map of Cybertron where we tried to put all the various cities and whatnot in it so that we understood what the relationship between the different places were. So this is a very cool book. A lot of good information. While we're talking about it, let me go grab the Covenant book. Alright, this guy hangs on a wall in a different part of the house. So, this, I think there's a sound effect too, but I haven't pulled the tag in the back. So you opened up the logo to get the book out. And then I think you may have seen this back here at one point. Sometimes I have it just hanging out. It's a pretty cool wall display. But this book, largely done by Ken Christensen, is basically the published story of the original 13. You know, so if you really are going to get into the toys and whatnot, somehow you got to get access to this book. There's Vector Prime, so that you can understand the story before the story, because that's essentially what this is. It's an archive book. Well, there's some Emiliano stuff in there too, of that story, of the Great War, how it started, where it's going, what happened, you know, some original art concepts around the different things that we added to the story, like Bumblebee losing his voice and some of that stuff, and how it ties into all the different things, all the way up into the Prime universe. So this is a pretty cool one. Again, good to read. I don't know how easy or desirable it will be to track down, but cool to read. That's a bummer if it's not really out there anywhere. We have the same haircut. Maybe. I think I have a little bit more. But yeah, we're a couple old fellas that been with the brand for a while, so yeah, we kind of look the same. So this is a good book, and this is probably one that I emotionally worked on the hardest to get out, because I wanted this information to be codified and understood. So this will dovetail, I think, into the next live that Proto and I recorded, the next long form. We won't talk about what it is, but it will dovetail into this a little bit. Oh yeah, Jiro. He's popped in. Now he's just hanging out on the floor. Hey, Ninja's in the house. Yeah, I decided to start early today. My home life worked out better that way if I did it on the early side. So And we are going till 10 today, Ninja, so you have not missed it all. You've missed a big pile of books, but you haven't missed it all. And again, I am the type of person that likes to look at reference, likes to have reference available to me. And over the years, I did that through collecting books or taking photocopies and putting them in their 3-ring binders and things like that. With the internet and all of that today, you know, a lot of this stuff can be accessed online if you're just looking for a particular image. But if you really want to study it and, you know, get into it, you know, it's still good to have these physical copies. I could also add the physical media versus digital media problems. So, you know, if you can track these books down and they are interesting to you, they're cool things to have in your archive as a creative person. The book is filled with the tears of Aaron Archer. A little bit. That's funny. My hobby is collecting books, or was for a long time. I still like to collect reference. Yeah, absolutely. All right. We haven't even scratched the surface. Those are the big things. From here on out, it's going to be, might find a thing or two that's oddball for sure. But everything else is going to be comic books and or let's call it analogous publishing around one of the themes. Okay? So you're hitting a kid market, a mix and match demographic, you know, the different types of books that could come out. So that we're just going to go through fast because it's, you know, the photos from the movie or whatnot. But I have a few interesting things for sure. So let's put this guy back. Pretty cool. All right. I am going to shift a gear for a second before I get to that and talk about the artists that make a lot of these books, whether it's Emiliano, Marcelo, Ken, myself, other just artists that focus on Transformers, whether they've worked on it officially or not. And I want to talk about the artist sketchbooks a little bit. I think these are a great way to, you know, obviously meet the artist, get a little something, an autograph or a sketch, and make that contact with the people's work who you see all the time, whose names never get on this stuff for the most part. Comics you get your names on, some of the publishing you do, but not the video game stuff, not the development stuff, not the, you know, concept works and different things. So if you know, it's a chance for these guys to put their work out and on their own terms a little bit. And so it's just cool. So as an example, you know, I have my sketchbooks. So volume 1 and volume 2, soon to be a volume 3. You know, so it's just my art as I want to present it, largely in that Transformer space, right? You got artists like various guys, T.G. Ping here. You know, he does these awesome, very toy-respected watercolors, and that's what makes his work really sing, is that it's just presented differently. I talked to him at a few shows. I really I vibe with this guy. I like what he's doing creatively, and he seems like a nice fellow. So, you know, anytime someone can show up on the scene and just present this stuff in a whole new way, it's really cool to me. And so, you know, and those are just great visuals. You know, I got 4 of the Ken books here. You know, and this is all different types of work. Some of them are in color, some of them are in black and white. you know, they're kind of lower run books, so they are. He's even done sketches in here. I forgot about some of these. You know, they're lower printed. The money's going directly to the artist, and it's an opportunity again for them to have a little say in some of the work that they do. There's an original that he drew in that one. That's really, really cool. Really cool sea spray. Is that printed or did he draw that? I can't tell if he drew that or if that's on all of them. I don't think that's original. That's an elaborate original. And there's this one. This one's in color, you know, so it gets a lot of his great color work. You know, I'll put Ken's, when Ken goes all out on a full tilt rendered color. Watch out, people. Watch out. He is a proper master when it comes to the full tilt stuff. I love when he does these cartoony guys. So Ken is a good guy, and so that's what I'm saying. You get to meet the artist, you get to talk about the work they've done, and you get to you know, put money directly into their hands, which is always nice for all the work that they've done. I got a few from Marcelo here. And these guys sell different ones each year. Mine here are some of the older ones. You know, but it's you know, all Emiliano's different work, color, black and white, convention sketches, you know. So it's cool. Check them out online. All these guys are on social media and can buy their books for sure. And this is just a little aside, but you know, I have these same sketchbooks from my time before I knew Derek Wyatt. So I got this book from Derek in 2003. Okay. So I knew this guy's work well before there was an inkling that we were going to work together. Mostly because he had these cool Transformers in there. You know? So it's very, you know, this stuff on the creative side can have a long tail. And you can run into people and vibe with them years later that you liked. So that's cool. Let's look through this Ben 10 one real quick. I don't know how much of this is Derek's, but I don't know if any of it might be in the end. Yeah, a lot of it. I think it's interspersed. Yeah, but what a great cartoon, you know. And that, you know, regardless if this one's one of the Transformer artists or not, you know, look at these books. Don't sleep on these books. If you're a creative person, you want to be inspired, or you want to have more odd, rare things in your collection that maybe 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road no one will have because no one went to that Comic-Con or, you know, pick that bonus book up that came with that other book, you know. Yeah, you'll be thankful you did. You'll be thankful you did. I got one more here. Andrew Bernies, I think. This guy gets the award for pulling on Aaron Archer's heartstrings. He's doing all the Armada and Energon. He's currently on Energon bots in his own style. A lot of breaking it down to its core essence, the vibe of the character coming out. I really, this is what it's all about. You know, if I created all that stuff for the long haul, and where would it end up and where would it go over time. You know, seeing something like this, that someone's taken the time to really bring some of these minicon teams and things to life in such a way. You know, we inspired people, and the value of the creativity lives on clearly, and that's what's special. So this makes me feel like I've accomplished something, honestly. If I can say that humbly. I know I have a whole toy line and everything else, but if you take the next step and down the line that people still are putting this much effort into things that you created lovingly, you know, I can't think of a higher purpose, you know, higher end result for a toy designer that and someone who likes to create new stuff. That this stuff lives on that way is very special to me. So he brought this book to me at the Florida convention, and I've been following him on his Instagram. And really cool. Very cool. Probably one of the better books, or better things that I've been gifted in a while. Yeah, there's Marcelo. Go buy his book. You know, I still have my book too, archermonster.com, what have you, but go check out Marcelo's work as well. Hey, Alan, how are you? You're here too. Bigum. What else? Ninja, you don't have a book yet? Shoot. How many color files do you just have done? You could just get that printed tomorrow. Just put them all in a format and drop it into InDesign, and away you go. Man. I'm going to send you a video from YouTube on how to do that. Yeah, Marcelo, where can we go to get your art? I know you're on Instagram, but I don't know your preferred location. I obviously have archermonster.com, but I don't know if you have a site that you direct people to. But if you put Marcelo Materi into the Instagram, I'm sure you'll be able to track it down. You got stickers for days. My son put your Robot Mario sticker on the back of his Switch. I thought it was Marcelo, and then I forgot it was you. All right. Let's see. Then I got some weird stuff. So here's the first version of my sketchbook. We printed it big to see if we liked it. A little too big for me, so we're skipping over that. I got a Generation 1 licensing guide. That's not quite a book. So here's the first comic book I guess we could talk about. You know, this is a trade paperback. Wow. It's not even signed. All right. So you get a lot of comic book stuff. Obviously, you get different collections of particular books. There's the various, trades of any given toy line or storyline. You can always track that down. If they're doing their due diligence, maybe you get some extra fun art in the backs. We've seen some of this in other books. But you can't go wrong with trades. You get a whole bunch of story in one spot, and like I said, perhaps you get a little bit extra in the back as well. So for me, I got these Armada trades because they're related to the work I did, obviously. So that's fun. There's the signed edition from Eric and Joe and Forrest. I guess this was the whole gang signed this one for me. That's cool. We got the... Alright, here's a fun fact. Fun fact. This issue of the Dreamwave comic, the summer special or something. The summer... Yeah, summer special. There is a story in here. Which is the only... Yeah, Transformers Energon Perspective. If you look right there, based on an idea by Aaron Archer. That's as close as I got to any comic book work on IDW or Dreamwave. I pitched Simon an idea on how for us to tell a story of Snowcat, Sharkticon, and Slugslinger, I think. I don't know. To see who would do the best job for Megatron. And he went off and wrote a cooler story. So that is as close as you're going to get to me being able to sign any comic book publishing. You know, and then you got all the, you know, kind of third-party comic book stuff if you want to really go deep dive. There's convention-only comics out there. Issue 1s. I haven't looked through this one in a while. There you go. There's the really cool. Probably one of my. I like that piece of art. That's a pretty good piece of art. I think that is Dawn. Yes, it is. All day long. All dawn long. Sorry for the wrinkle noise. You got the cross-sell comic books. You got these official guides here. That's another type of toy book that kind of more for kids, going back to the types of things we were talking about. There's Marcelo's very first, right there, very first piece of published paid artwork by Hasbro. We use that on the Fleer card and in this book, apparently. Woo! Okay. Alright, give me a second to clean this up a little bit. Alright, you are watching the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. I hope you're having a good Friday. Hope you're having fun looking through these books with me. Alright, so then another type of book that you're going to encounter, there it is, are going to be your promotional things. So I got, cover of Wired, Game Informer, there's some Toy Fair magazines. You could look at it that way. I got 2 Game Informer covers, I guess. Yeah. All right. Both 1 of 2. I don't have 2 of 2. I have 2 1s of 2. This one was cool. When that showed up, that was pretty cool. You can also have, various licensing kind of magazines with stuff on the cover. There's somebody I used to know. All right. And there's things like this, charity fanzine. This goes with, like, I would call third party comics and stuff. Just enthusiasts printing books for special purpose for conventions or meetups. It's the passion of the fandom really coming through. So that's cool. Let's see what else I got here, magazine wise. There's some magazines that are published, only, like, this came out only at BotCon for years. I think some of these are really hard to track down too. It really is a fanzine related to the BotCon. So this one covers the various BotCons with black and white photos and who was a guest, perhaps. Things like that, both in English and in Japanese. Look at that. Young Dan Kana. So, you can get a lot of weird information if you're really into the hobby and you really want to be informed. There's a lot of different places over 40 years where information has been laid down. You got gaming guides, stuff like that will come out. Trying to set some of these up in some sort of order. Here's another novel, Ghosts of Yesterday. I don't even think I've cracked that book. All right. But I got things like, here's another magazine cover. So we were on the cover of Cinefex when Transformers 1 came out. Then this is signed by a few of the guys I worked with in the art department of the first movie at Bay Films. This magazine went out of publication a couple years ago after many, many, many years. Kind of sad. Goodness. Here on out, I just got rando interesting things. I don't know if they're in all the orders I'd want them, but I value these books. I love these. That we got a Marvel Universe style kind of official guide for Armada. Three whole books, I think the covers all line up too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they do. That's pretty cool. Don't know how I can show that, but I can't show it in 3 parts. I can only show it in 2 without bending the spines. So you can see how they all lined up. Pretty cool. So this was a book where they used a lot of that same art and, kind of did the bios. Not so much focused on the toys at all, just focused on the art that they wanted to make of the toys. So in some cases, these are the only places you've seen some of these Minicon images. They're not the ones used for the cards or anything else. Don't quite remember why that was, but I remember them doing a lot of this artwork multiple times. And this was the only place that it was used, really. trade paperbacks. Now here's something interesting. So in some cases, there'll be promotional books that get made to maybe the animation's not finished. Maybe you're really trying to sell an idea into a partner, and you create a little something to give them something to go on. So this, I don't know if people are aware of this book, was part of the promotion of Beast Hunters. I think we did this internally, and it just kind of covered all these beasts, you know, kind of flipping through it, weird, but you know, again, I don't know if this art has been seen in other places. So I got some books like that are just these very strange promotional things that we made. So that's interesting. All right. Sorry for the wrinkle noise here. So these are all just activity books, coloring books. You know, if you're doing well on your brand, you're gonna get this kind of format for the youngest kids. There's just you know, things like the sticker books. Activity books that have nothing but style guide art in them. Again, these are pretty cool because you're not going to get clean art too often, you know. So if you want to practice coloring, or scan that up and go to town, I mean, you're not going to find clean images like this anywhere else. You know, I know a coloring book often seems a little weird. You know, like, well, I don't want a coloring book. I'm a Transformer collector. But, you know, you tell me where you're going to find clean art like that to really appreciate some of what's going on. If you're into it, you know, into that stuff. So that's why I think don't sleep on that. So that's the Takara version. You know, there's the animated version, which is essentially, you know, the same thing, big black and white art, some games, some puzzles, just an opportunity to, you know, celebrate this art and the property. Yeah, very cool. You know, and then you end up with the same types of books on every, you know, in every case. You know, look at that. Where else you finding that? You're not. You get the different workbooks, you know, activity books, same deal. Maybe there'll be a poster or some stickers in the middle, that kind of thing. How to draw type books. Boy, Eric there did me solid and drew in there. You know, it's as simple as that. You do a cube and you do a mattress, and then you cut that cube down a little bit and you put some wheels on the mattress, and then, you know, you erase some lines, you add a couple more lines, and voila, you know how to draw Optimus. It's just that easy. It's just that easy. You know, pretty good stuff for the head there, if you really want to learn how to draw this stuff. But there's sticker books out there. You know, this is going back a few years, but that is a consistent format. Again, not so big, but often that art is presented without other stuff around it. Alright, and then there's in different eras, you get different types of publishing towards kids and fans in general. So this was the Armada era stuff. I don't think you'd make these same books today. We had these little storybooks for a age 2 reader or something. Had some stickers inside. This book was just for us to approve the overall format. This isn't even a real book. Look at this. So this is not a real book. And you know how I know it's not a real book? It's not a real book. So we had those. These are I guess there's a flip book along the corner of that thing. Got another official guide. There were some age 4 readers. This kind of cut up animation stuff, as well as some of the art we had. Kind of pulling from everywhere. Nobody gives her any love. So those are fun. You guys digging on this? I got a few more things here. There's always different formats of books, trying to do different things. So let's say, maybe there's a country or a series of a region that you just can't get the show on air, or just a lot of people don't have TVs, or it's just not the right way to communicate. You could take the cartoons, turn them into comic books. This is the footage from the cartoons. That's a way to present it. Similar here, where they took the Prime cartoon, busted it up, put words in there to turn it into like a comic book format. They did that for a number of series. The Orion Pax saga. That could be interesting. They did it with animated here. A couple different volumes there. I have volumes 1 and 3. I don't have volumes 2. They also sometimes would shrink down the comic books into, this classic Japanese digest size, so that this could be more palatable to those shelves at a Barnes & Noble or something that don't sell traditional comic books as often. They could put this into their manga section at the time, which again, this is just taking the Dreamwave comic books and shrinking them up. Trinidad never got Transformers Armada. Wow. Well, it's out there. It's out there. Here's another version of that same thing. This is the animated movie comic book shrunk down into digest form. So this is Don's interpretation of the movie. Let's go to the page that everybody remembers. So that's another way to do comics. So different formats of books. Sometimes you have the same books but in a different format. So that's always interesting. What is this one? Here's another cover. So I worked on these things, so I kept a lot of the different covers I worked on. Here's a animated kids storybook. All right, this is something that I don't think came out to the public. High Moon planning document, basically, with the conceptual art. A lot of this would have then been in the art of Fall for Cybertron. Let's see if they got any. Yeah, they got some. So it's the same art. This was just probably an early way before the game was actually up and running. A way to communicate the excitement around, what they were working on, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, very, very fun. So again, this is a book that probably is not available. But yet, when you have access to this kind of stuff and can track it down in the hobby and the fandom, I've had guys come up to me and show me some stuff that was not supposed to be out in the wild, and there they had it. And they're trying to understand, hey, what is this thing? And I can tell them, but it's like, how did you get this? So I show you these things because you never know if you might come across one of these and not quite know what you're looking at. So that's why I show it. I got a few more quick ones, more kids storybooks. They come with little gimmick things, little Transformers you can punch out. This one's a Marcello book, so the cover is misleading as far as that goes, because when you get inside, it's more of a classic movie book. So I'm going to take a half step back over here and grab these books, because the movie gave us a lot of opportunities. So here's like a kid mix and match book. So now Marcello did this book as well. So each character is there on each page in 3 parts, so that you can flip. And all these had to be drawn in the same position, even though they have wildly different proportions. And you can start to see how you can take, Jetfire's head on what's his name's body, and Bumblebee's legs, and then on the other side you're also getting different villain expressions as well. So that's kind of fun. That's a fun little book. You get the movie storybooks. This is more traditional from back then. Marcella did me an awesome sketch in the front. I always appreciate. I look at these books as part of my, I don't know, not just collection, but my being. I meet these guys, I work with them, we're friends. I like having autographs, I like having sketches. So a lot of my books are somehow that connected that way. So Marcello did all this wonderful movie version of the story in a softer style for all the kids who may not ever get to go see that movie at the time. A lot of fun stuff there. So both those books are awesome. That's the Mix and Match Revenge of the Fallen. I also got the Mix and Match Movie 1. I don't know if I realized that was the case. So that's how these things work. Just move them around and see what you come up with. Fun. Nice art too. And again, this art is nowhere else, so these images never got printed whole anywhere from what I can remember. So kind of a different style of collecting the brand, but still interesting things to track down and hunt. Did I already go through these? Okay, so these are more prime coloring books. There's other like bigger deal activity books. that kind of stuff, taking the movie and their animation assets and really going crazy. There's so many publishing things that come out in a given year that you can't even keep up with it, really, especially when you consider global and multi-regional and everything else. Wild. Here's a Prime overview book. Again, clipping from the show, adding words to create a kid reader book. I don't always know if that's as successful. The layouts for a book are different than the layouts you need for animation, but either way, there's that. Here's a movie universe book. This is more of the pre-production, more like the DK book, which this is a DK book, related to the movie. So that classic, all the photos they can find, little descriptions of little subtlety, all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. Different weapon modes, celebrating all of that. That's what makes these books great. And this one is signed, thanks for all the help and support, Michael Bay. Alright, so that's that. Now these last several here that I'm going to show are, I believe, all on my website currently for sale. I do have one of the Generations books for sale. Minty. I got these, different kinds of coloring books and activity books, and they all come with a unique print from my publishing library, because these are actually from my library. I'm moving. I can't keep all this stuff. I'm going to keep Armada stuff. I'm going to keep Unicron Trilogy stuff, G1 stuff, but some of the animated and movies, I don't know if I can keep all of that, because it's not all me. There's only so much space when you're a book collector, and if I'm going to move back to Rhode Island, I can't carry it all. These are those really kid classic board books. So it goes all different ages when you're making these books. Look at this pile; it's already up to here. Here's a coloring book that I bought in Universal Cities or Singapore. Universal Studios Singapore had their own coloring books there, which are very nice. They're very much better paper than we have. Very cool paper. I don't know if I have another one of those. I am selling an Armada sticker book. That is online. So those sticker books are pretty cool. We used to do books that had little 3D models that you built along with the stories. So I'm selling some of those. So if there's a type of format, if things are hot at a given time, let's build little things, or stickers, or a maze, or activities. Whatever's hot is what gets applied to these things on a yearly basis. Here's two oddball things. I got the old record for He-Man, and I got an old paint with water He-Man that's also online at the moment. archermonster.com/shop. That's where you can find all that good stuff. So here we are. That's the bulk of what I want to show that isn't becoming redundant. A lot of trade paperbacks. Things like that. I think got various the cross sells, from US and Japan, stuff like that, but depends what you like to do with these books. Do you want the information to know how fast can Hound go? You can find that. Do you want just cool art? You can find that. Do you want to find the classic art? You can find that. Do you want to find a particular artist that has drawn your favorite character? Obviously, I believe you can find that too. And that's what I like about the books. Again, the internet is great. You can find all kinds of stuff, but it's not always as big as you want. I can't set it there and look at it as I'm drawing. I like the physical books, but I am a book collector in that regard. So I hope you got some cool insight into the whole world of publishing that exists out there and the types of books that you can get into. You could be just a coloring book collector, I think, if you wanted to be, or just collect coloring books, or just the movie books, or just the perfect guides from the animation, or anywhere in between. So that's what makes it fun. So will you have some of this for sale at Toronto in July? Probably. I don't know. A lot of the stuff I have online, I will certainly have there. And as I start to pack up all my stuff, I'm sure I will find a banker's box worth of things that I find to be worthy to try to pass on to creative people, whether they're Transformer fans or artists. I got some stuff that I just don't want to donate. It just goes into a hole. I'd like to put it into a creative person's hand somehow. But not everybody's into books, and that becomes tricky. Hey D, how are you? I think we're going to be done closer to 10. Yeah, I started early today. Yeah, I got a lot of bookmarks for all kinds of great art and artists. But when I'm drawing, I kind of want to be listening to music or something, and I need the book to look at next to me, not over and over, and I don't work necessarily right in front of my screen. So, the books give you the ability to just have it there and keep referencing it as a creative person. So if I'm going to go on that end, creative, yeah, you really do want to have the physical stuff to really get in there. The digital breaks it down. It's never high res enough in a way to get out of it as a creative person what I feel like I want out of it. All right, I just found some Energon product catalogs that I didn't know I have. I guess what's going to get a Posca drawing this week? These are minty. Minty, look at that. I don't even think these things have ever been cracked open. I might have got these out of a box when we gave them away at Comic-Con or something. So with that, I am still doing the Posca drawings. There's the guys on the boxes. So if you're looking for art, I am currently still got a lot of it and still doing it. Got a lot to finish. But depending on what you're into, there might be something out there for you. No matter what era you might be jamming on these days. So I appreciate that. With that, you guys got any other questions? You want to talk about anything particular? Or answer any questions about these books at all before we call it a day here in the next 20 minutes? I do custom. I got a whole pile of instructions, so if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, we can work something out. So when you want a particular character or fit a certain price point or gift for somebody, we can work it out. Let me know. Can you do drawings on cardback sealed figures? Yeah, I could. Boxes probably easier than blisters, but it wouldn't make too much of a difference. Yeah. I actually have my the Legacy and United, Megatron and Optimus and Override and Hotshot boxes, and I don't know what I want to do with them. I may bring them to Toronto with drawings on them. I just don't know if I should cut up the boxes. I guess I should flatten them. But I don't know if people want the boxes. The instruction sheets are pretty cool because you can frame them, hang them up, whatever. Do you want a box with a drawing on it? I don't know. So, but I could. If you're interested, I could. What books have Beast Wars Silverbolt in it? I don't know about. Well, that Japanese one is going to be one of your best bets. There's not a ton on Beast Wars. We certainly didn't do much American publishing at the time. So that might be one of the few books that's actually out there for Beast Wars. There was a Beast Wars style guide, but it was terrible. It was terrible. I don't know if anybody remembers that one. It helped them make the Beast Wars video game. So there you go. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going back up a bit. Yeah, if you're living in Trinidad or the islands out there, I imagine it is tough to be a collector, all full stop. What are they shipping to the island, if anything? Do you have access to it? What is the markup to it? I imagine, and then just if you can buy it on the continent, so to speak, what's it cost to get it to you and everything else. And I don't know what kind of customs Trinidad and Tobago deal with and all of that, or upcharges for all of that with taxing and everything. But wow, yeah, tough place to be a fan, I suppose. There are a lot of places in the world it's a tough place to be a fan, even if you're not that randomly located. Proto Man talks about just the idea of Montreal needing the triple language means that some things just don't get to Quebec, and Quebec is surrounded by places that have all the things in a way. So it's you can have trouble locating things all over. Any instruction books you need in particular? I'm still looking, by the way, everyone, for instructions. I'm always looking for more main characters, probably less movie at this point, but certainly Unicron trilogy, animated, first movie probably, but I do have a lot of movie. Obviously, we sold a lot of movie products, so everybody's had. I got a lot of Starscreams. The Starscream was a big seller. It's funny to look through these instructions and start to appreciate where people spent their money or what was heavily promoted, right? Starscream, everybody had a Starscream, I feel like, because I've got a lot of those. But I am looking, more looking for anything on the glossy paper. I've tried to do some work on the more modern paper. So here's a glimpse as to the inner process. But without the shiny paper, it doesn't flow quite right. So I don't know if I'm going to even finish this. So probably not looking for the paper as much as I am the glossy paper. And this will be the one I'm working on tomorrow. It'll be a big one. I did Thundertron this week. That was fun. Volume, all Wind Charger volume, that's funny. Volume 3 will definitely be at TFCon Toronto. It might be available a little bit before that. It's not my intention to make it debuted there. But depending on where I'm living and where I need that stuff to be, well, it'll probably be here. It'll definitely be around that time. It won't be in May, so late June, July, early July. Does any of your books mention Finnish exclusive Black G1 tracks? I think there might be some talk of that. Somebody showed me that when I was at TF Nation, that item. It's the first time I'd seen a proper one. Marcelo had a good question way back. Did Hasbro go to publishers for the art books, or did the publishers contact Hasbro with the ideas? Well, all that work has to be done by the publisher or the lead person to track all that stuff down. Hasbro would donate a certain amount of time and had been harnessing their assets over the years, so they kind of had some stuff they could give, but it wasn't like they always had everything or everything that was requested, so they often had to go out on a hunt. Hasbro was not helping them necessarily bring all that stuff together. So yeah. So we didn't really go to publishers to do that. Hasbro Canada is in Quebec. There you go. Do you draw on any instructions or just the stuff you worked on? I've done a lot of Lego ones because they also have the glossy, the little book, the instruction books for Legos. I've done some of those. Anything glossy works. I've done several Legos. I thought I did one other thing, but I can't recall what it is at the moment. But I'll draw on anything, and I'll draw pretty much, any kind of toy pop culture stuff. Absolutely. Haven't forgotten, but you saw my tote. Huh? Yeah, even if it comes to Trinidad, it's expensive. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Up charges and waiting. And we used to send stuff for reference to Marcelo in Brazil, and the process in Brazil, they didn't care what you told them it was valued at. They'd look at it and they would value it, and they would tell Marcelo what he had to pay to get it out of the post office. And sometimes it was, more money than the job he was doing. Now, he was a toy collector too. Marcelo, if you're still here, you can correct me. But, it just seemed like not fair. So, you going to TF Baltimore, Aaron? My current plan is to go to Baltimore, although I'm going to be I think I'm going to be in Rhode Island by that time, or I know I will be in Rhode Island by that time. For those who haven't heard, my wife and I and the kids are moving back to Rhode Island. I am not connected to Hasbro or anything, so don't jump to any conclusions. That's where my wife is from. And now that my mom and father have passed, we're better suited out there to be closer to more family. So driving from Rhode Island to Baltimore is not anything any sane person would want to do. So I want to be at Baltimore. I assume I'll be at Baltimore. I'm just not looking forward to getting to Baltimore at the moment. So there's my answer. There's a guy selling rare Unicron Trilogy stuff on eBay, located in South Africa. Wow. Yeah, some guys have a racket going, and they'll just wait until someone pays it. Crazy. Did the NASCAR racers come with instructions? I don't know. That's funny. Did you know I did NASCAR racer stuff? I did some of the pilots for season 2. Yeah. So I am looking forward to Toronto, though. Simon's going to be there, Simon Furman. I haven't seen him for quite a while. Good few years, and we always have a good time when we get together. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Going to be somewhat saddened. lost one of my friends last year in that tragic accident. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Bryce. So, that's a bummer. I enjoyed getting dinners and things with him. So that'll be a bummer for sure. But I'm looking forward to it all the same. Good group of people up there. If you can get up to Toronto, it is a fun time. So with that, I don't know if I got anything else to really chew on. Like I said, archermonster.com/shop. I have artwork going up all the time. Sometimes the stuff I post, Instagram gives me crap a little bit if I'm posting too often. So sometimes I put stuff up that I've drawn that I just haven't posted yet. So you can see things sometimes there. First, I really only promote on the Instagram and through my site, and most things are go. So, but if you want to share the word, please do. And Jiro has struck again, I think. He's definitely in the closet. He's definitely in the closet. How do you draw on that? That's funny. I like a fluid line, and that dries really fast, and that glossy paper makes it thin paint and goes fast. Great for that graffiti type marker. I have drawn in pen for 30 plus years, 35 years probably. So I'm committed to making lines and living with them and working it out. And that's how I'm able to just go for it. I'm very gestural, and I'm not afraid to just start drawing. That's my weirdness with art. I just go for it. I don't have to lay it out. So all these instruction things are drawn in Sharpie first, right on the paper. And I don't do any pre-sketching, okay? I don't have time to make the perfect painting every time. I'm just drawing heads most of the time. But I just go for it. I draw it in Sharpie and then start rendering it out. But yeah, so I'm built that way to draw right on this weird paper with folds in it and everything else. It's not a precise art form at all. I'm glad you guys like them. I love doing them. But it is a weird output style for sure. Here's another one that's going to go up tomorrow or Sunday. I haven't started this one, but got a sideways. So this will get a full body sideways this weekend too. So those are the two that are on my short list for the weekend. What else we got here? Yeah, I don't have any Kiss Play instructions. I don't think. I may have one. I have to look at my alternators. I haven't done too many alternators. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, Ninjatron. Yeah, I mean, we really should just respect the guy. He's very, very passionate about what he was passionate about, and just kind of crazy how that all went down, and I don't want to dwell on that, but I'll miss my friend, and I think I'll do the same. So we should talk about that, how we could do that. But it's a bummer. That's the one thing about this hobby. Over the years, people get sick. There's accidents. There's sudden accidents. There's kind of lingering things over a long time that you notice people are dealing with. But it's still great to have that friendship. It means the people mean something. And that's what's great about particularly the TF convention, where it's a group of consistent people over a long haul. You know, they care or they understand each other in different ways than just a big New York Comic Con, you know. So I really do like the Transformer shows. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. A good 2 hours. Going through all this, I guess I'm cleaning my office tomorrow. I got a stack of books here to go through. That's one stack. Here's another stack. That whole shelf there is where they usually live. So I emptied that out. And yeah. So check out, I did another live video last week as well, going through all the Armada Fleer cards. So if you want to check that out, you can do it. It was a live. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here, and I will talk to you soon. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe and like and do all that good stuff. So I appreciate you, and I will see you next week. All right. Thanks. Wow, wow, wow.